Yo, what is up? Today's video I am putting up a T-44 100 versus a CS-52 LIS. Now recently I put out a poll on my YouTube channel asking you which one of these tanks do you prefer, and 67% of you picked one of these tanks to be the overwhelming favorite. So what I decided to do is take both of them out and test them out, and then try to form an opinion that is unbiased and as accurate as possible. Now, to put in context and to give you a little bit of backstory, I've played this T-44 100 many times since it was introduced. This is my go-to tank in Frontlines. I spawn in this tank in Frontline, so I've been playing this tank a lot in the past, but I have not played this tank in about a year. So the last time I played the T-44 100 was when Frontlines was on last year, so it's been about a year since I played this tank, and this is my first game in it. We are in, is this Ruinberg or Himmelsdorf? I think this is Ruinberg, right? Anyway, here we are in Ruinberg. I'm trying to fire as many standard shells as possible. In case you didn't know, standard shells penetration on the T-44 100 is 190 penetration, and the premium shells is 247 penetration. Now, like I said, I haven't played this tank in about a year. Although I'm very familiar with this game, you know, when you haven't played a tank for a long time, you need to take some time to build up confidence and try to get used to it again. Now, this is, of course, I'm a top tier match made as a top tier here, so there's no reason for me to hide at the back. But if you look at my team setup here, you can see that I have 3 tanks that are hiding right at the back on the A line here, and that is an IS-2 version 2 top tier tank platoon with an SU-130 PM, 2 SU-130 PMs, and they're all 3 of them hiding on the A line right at the back. So it is not wise for me to be out there right in the front by myself. I know there is a position here that I can hold down and hide a little bit, so that's exactly what I'm going to do with this tank. This tank does have a little bit of turret armor, but not on that occasion when that HWK-30 shot me with APCR. Obviously, if the HWK is firing APCR, he's going to penetrate me no problem, whether he hits my turret or the side of my tank or anywhere on my tank for that matter. Now I decide to switch to APCR premium shells here because I've bounced that Super Pershing. So I'm in a bit of a pickle here. I don't you know, it's tough for me to be in this position. I'm lucky that there is no artillery, because if there was artillery in this game, I would have been taken out very quickly. Now, like I said, this is an old tank. It's been in the game for a long time. When I put out that question to you guys, I wanted to know what you guys thought of this tank, because in my opinion, like I said, this was my go-to tank in Frontlines. The CS-52 was not released last year during Frontlines, so it wasn't available to play in Frontlines, so I didn't get a chance to play the CS-52 a lot. When the CS-52 first came out, I only played 2 games with it. That's it, total 2 games with it. So the CS-52 game that you're about to see me play in this video is actually only my 3rd game in the CS-52. Like I said, I know the T-44 100 pretty well because I've been playing it for, I don't know, 2 years, maybe 3 years, and a lot of it in Frontlines. It is my primary tank in Frontlines. What is good about this tank? Obviously, it is a quick firing gun. It reloads in 6 seconds, and if you have all the skills, BIA, gun rammers, food. If you run all the skills and equipment, you can get it down to about 5 seconds reload time. This is a very quick firing gun. The only weak part about this tank is the penetration. Standard shells 190 penetration, which means you have to fire a lot of premium shells if you want to be highly competitive, and that is the only downside about this tank. Even if you're fighting with same tier tanks in tier 8s, it's difficult. You saw me finding it difficult to deal with that super purging. I had to find the weak spots either on the cheeks or on the lower plate, so it's kind of a bit of a bummer when you have to fire premium shells in your premium tank, because of course one of the main advantages of a premium tank is you want to be making credits when you are playing in the random battles mode. This is good credit grinder, right? You expect it to be a credit grinder, so that's what you want from your premium tank. But with all the tanks being armored, all the new tanks getting more and more armor, you need more and more penetration to do the amount of damage you need. And the T-44-100 being an old tank with 190 penetration on your standard shells, you do need to use a lot of premium shells, which is 247 penetration, gets the job done for you. And I managed to spot that Scorpion and get it killed. We managed to pull this one back. We were actually in a losing position, but we managed to actually just sneak out a lead right now, because I think the city held on for a while and the guys on the 9-0 line couldn't push forward very much because we had the IS-2 version 2 and the 2 SU-130 PMs camping at the back, and they were just banging everyone that was being spotted out in the middle. So you know, I'm kind of upset that they were camping at the back and not being aggressive enough, but they got the job done. Because of that, we are winning, I guess. I managed to do 1700. I think I totaled this game with 1900 damage. Not too bad. I'm not too, it's not a great game, but it is my first game in a very long time, so I have to accept it for what it is. Good enough for me to put some commentary over it and explain to you how good or how competitive this tank is in 2021. In a moment I'm going to drive the CS-52 and then we're going to talk about that tank. But this is it. T-44-100 used to be a very competitive tank. I think it is still very competitive. If you compare it to a Type 59, this tank will smoke a Type 59 any time of the day. 250 damage, 190 penetration, 247 penetration on the premium shells. Easy win for us here. It is still very competitive tank. Very good single shot tank. In tier 8 premium tanks, got a class 2 for it, and didn't finish top on damage. As you can see, these guys in the SU-130 PM, they were just smashing everyone that came close or tried to attack or cross in the middle. Let's move on to the next game, and here is the CS-52. And in Prokhorovka, I wanted to go into the 1-2 line where that is my favorite spot on this map, but I realized that I am top tier and it is a full tier 8 matchmaking. I've got to be out there and be as aggressive as I can, try to be out there in the front and try to make use of my gun and not try to camp at the back. So this is the result. 67% of you picked the CS-52 as the better single shot premium tank. And to be honest with you, after this game, I must say I have to agree with you guys. And one of the big things I realized about the evolution of this game is, we were talking earlier about the penetration of the T44-100, 190 standard shell penetration. The CS-52 LIS has standard shell penetration of 208. 208 penetration means in a tier 8 matchmaker game, I can just fire standard shells nearly 100% of the time. And this is one of the good things about the CS-52. Now, it doesn't reload as fast as a T44-100. In fact, it is more than 1.5 seconds slower reload, but a slower reload does not deter it too much because it does 70 more damage than the T44-100. So instead of a 250 damage gun, you are getting a 320 alpha gun, reloading 1.5 seconds slower than a T44-100. Is a bit of a trade-off, but for 320 alpha, I think it's kind of worth it. And because you have 208 penetration, you don't need to rely too much on premium shells. Now, if you do need premium shells to shoot at tier 9 or tier 10 tanks, the CS-52 gives you 252 premium shell penetration, and the premium shells are APCR, so you are getting high velocity shells. In fact, if you fire premium shells in the CS-52, it's like a laser because you are getting 1500 meters per second, a lot faster than the T44-100 premium shells. So that's one of the things that make the CS-52 a little bit better than the T44-100. Now, like you guys said, 67% of you say the CS-52 is better than the T44-100. But if you look at the results, the win rate percentage, it is actually the T44-100 that performs a lot better than the CS-52. In fact, the T44-100 is ranked number 9 in all tier 8 tanks in terms of win rate, and the CS-52 is ranked number 15th. Both this tank, again, very far in terms of performance, because the results speak for themselves. A lot of people win more in the T44-100 versus the CS-52. But you know what? The top performing medium tank in tier 8 is actually the Chimera. The Chimera is the top performing in terms of win rate, but I don't want to include that. I don't want to give it too much credit because the Chimera is a reward tank and only the most dedicated players get those tanks, and typically they are better players, more experienced players, and that is why the Chimera performs very well in terms of win rate. Now, let's talk about the best performing single shot medium tank in tier 8, okay? It is not a T44-100 nor the CS-52. Like I said, the first tank is the Chimera. The tank, and I shouldn't include that into this equation. The most best performing single shot tank in tier 8 is actually the 122 TM. The tank that's shot me, I think, twice already from the middle of the map. He's hiding at the rock right in the middle of the map, and he's shot me twice. If you can see, I've taken 2 damages from the 122 TM. That is actually the best single shot tank in tier 8. It's got the highest win rate, almost 53% win rate. The T-44-100 is the second best single shot medium tank, and the CS-52 is the third best performing single shot medium tank. But the consensus is everyone thinks the CS-52 is better, and I have to agree. Even in the one game that I played in this tank and the one game I played in the T-44-100, I feel like in 2021, in today's atmosphere, in today's world of tanks, yes, I have to agree. If you are an experienced player, you're definitely going to prefer the CS-52 LIS. It's just better overall. But the results speak for themselves. Like I said, that the 122 TM is the best performing single shot tank. In fact, it is ranked number 5 out of all tier 8 tanks in the game. The T-44-100 is ranked number 9. CS-52 is ranked number 15. I just put out a poll like a half an hour ago, and I think 80-90% of you prefer the CS-52 over the 122 TM. And that's my results. First game in the tank since it was released, officially my third game in the CS-52. And yes, I do agree with you, CS-52 is better than the T-44-100. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.